Hello everyone. On this episode of the Supplement Lab, we're finding out that beauty is a little bit more than just skin deep, and that taking supplements in combination with your daily skin regimen can actually yield some pretty wonderful results. Talking collagen, plasma, skin, and beauty from within. This is Wonder Collagen. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Joey Savage. I'm the CSO here at Glaxon, and if you like this video, go check out all my other content at Supplement Lab on Instagram and Supplement Lab on YouTube. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give me a follow. So there's no doubt that collagen's become quite popular lately, and not without controversy. Some people believe that it actually doesn't do anything, while there's other people that claim that it's miraculous. But the truth is probably somewhere in between. Is it for your skin, your joints, type 1, type 2, maybe type 3, hydrolyzed? Would you like non-hydrolyzed? Would you like marine collagen, chicken collagen, bovine collagen? Obviously, there's plenty of room for confusion when it comes to picking out the right collagen for you, so today we're actually going to get into the nitty-gritty details of what collagen is and how collagen supplementation could possibly help you. Now, most collagen supplements are sold for the purpose of trying as hard as they can to repair fine lines and wrinkles, especially in facial skin. Now, the skin is actually a complex layer of different cells, and you can look at this like the way that you would look at layers of stratified rock if you were like hiking in a canyon, or layers on a cake, that they've got different layers of different things. And the epidermis itself is actually composed of five different layers of cells. So starting with the surface, you've got the stratum corneum. This layer is mostly dead keratinized cells that are flattened out and they've lost their cell nucleus, and their function is essentially to be the physical barrier between your internal cells and the external elements to protect your cells from potential oxidation. Next is the stratum lucidum, which is a thin, clear layer that's really only found in lips and palms and the soles of your feet, which provides protection from impact. The stratum granulosum is the next layer down, and this is the point in the process where becoming external skin cells, where the keratin fibers begin to predominate, and the nuclei of these cells begins to actually shrivel up like a raisin. Next here is the stratum spinosum, which has several layers of cells with less keratin, a well-defined nucleus, and these cells actually have some like spine-like processes that don't really undergo mitosis all that frequently. And then last you got the stratum basal, which is actually a single layer of highly mitotic cuboidal kind of cells, and they're in contact with this thing called the basement membrane that separates that from the rest of what we're going to talk about. And this is where you find actually the pigment containing melanocytes that actually make your skin the color that it is. So that's the epidermis. It's a lot of cells, a lot of layers to get down to the metabolically active sites where the skin care from within can actually occur. This zone beyond the basement membrane, that's 5 levels down for those of you following along, is where things start to get interesting. And I like to use my favorite term in all my supplement episode labs so far, the extracellular matrix. Now, the extracellular matrix essentially lives behind the skin, beyond the basement membrane, and it consists of an interesting group of molecules that you're probably already familiar with. It has proteoglycans like chondroitin sulfate, which usually establishes the tensile strength of cartilage, but it also does the same for skin. And then there's also keratin sulfate, which is also found in cartilage, but it's also probably more widely known for being a major component of hair, or the hooves of livestock, or the fingernails that you have, or possibly horns of different animals like rhinoceroses. Additionally, the extracellular matrix has non-proteoglycan polysaccharides like hyaluronic acid. Now, hyaluronic acid is really interesting because it's a compound that can absorb water in quantities that exceed its own molecular weight by several times. Hyaluronic acid is also the molecule that establishes what's called turgor, which is the ability for things to retain water and thus their shape. Probably one of the best examples of turgor and turgor pressure comes from the plant kingdom. If a plant is well watered, it actually maintains its shape quite well. But if there's a drought, then the plant gradually will lose water and it starts to lose its shape and wilt because of this principle. And it can also be applied to the frequency of how much hyaluronic acid you have in your skin. If you have enough hyaluronic acid and are well hydrated, you look great. But if you're dehydrated and you don't have a lot of hyaluronic acid in your skin, it just wilts, kind of like the plants do. That's also part of the reasoning behind why we've included hyaluronic acid here in Wonder Collagen at 45 milligrams per serving. The last component of the extracellular matrix are the proteins. Now, some of these proteins are simply there to help everything stick together, like laminin and fibronectin, which are adhesion proteins, but there are also proteins like elastin that enable things in the body to actually stretch along with movement. Then, of course, we have our headliner of the extracellular matrix protein party, collagen. Not only is collagen the most abundant protein in the extracellular matrix, but it's also the most abundant protein in the human body. The term collagen itself is actually not that specific, but it's a general term that's used to describe 13 different collagen subtypes, which are broken down into 5 groups. But we'll mostly focus on the fibrillar collagen types of protein, which include collagens type 1, 2, 3, 5, and 11. Now, you folks are probably most familiar with collagen types 1 and 2 and 3. These are the most predominant forms of collagen on the market. Type 1 collagen can be found in the skin, tendons, blood vessels, organs, and bone. The skin itself is actually 70% collagen by mass, and of that 70%, 80% of that is said to be type 1 collagen. Type 2 collagen exists almost exclusively in cartilage, which is why most type 2 collagen products that you find are going to be joint specific. Type 3 collagen is found in connective tissue, and that's responsible for supporting soft tissues like bone marrow, the liver as an organ itself, and also the organs of the lymphatic system, and is commonly found along with type 1 collagen. Approximately 15% of the collagen that is found in skin is also type 3. So where does all this collagen come from? It's a protein, and like all proteins that are produced through the translation of messenger RNA into polypeptides, most of these collagens are produced and excreted by cells that are called human skin fibroblasts, and they live within the extracellular matrix. Collagen is actually quite a unique protein in the sense that it actually has a triple helix structure, which actually accounts for a lot of its tensile strength, and this unique shape comes from very unique amino acids. Now, most amino acids and proteins are associated with a transfer RNA that carries them to the ribosome so they can be added along to a developing polypeptide chain in a process called translation. What's unique about collagen is that some of the amino acids that compose the sequence undergo what's called post-translational modifications and creates 2 amino acids that you won't find in many, if any, other proteins: hydroxyproline and hydroxylysine. These 2 amino acids are there to enhance collagen stability and enable it to create such tight turns, making the overall triple helix structure. The processes by where prolines and lysines get this extra hydroxyl group are dependent on the enzymes prolyl hydroxylase and lysyl hydroxylase respectively. These 2 enzymes are dependent on vitamin C, which is actually an essential cofactor in this process. We've included vitamin C here in Wonder Collagen to help catalyze this process internally. And studies have shown that just vitamin C supplementation alone can actually stimulate endogenous collagen production in human skin fibroblasts. But it also supports fibroblast regeneration and fibroblast migration to the sites where collagen is actually needed most. In fact, vitamin C deficiency, also known as scurvy, is marked by symptoms that are first manifested as emotional changes, then those advance onto physiological manifestations like gum disease and hair loss. You get reduced red blood cell count. You get rough or easily bleeding skin that even bruises more easily broken bones, lose teeth, and reduced ability to heal your own wounds. And all of this is due to a reduction in overall collagen stability, so vitamin C should actually be considered a key nutrient in skin health. So why is it that people take collagen supplements? Well, it turns out that both collagen quantity and quality decrease with age, and this is mostly due to long-term exposure to UVA radiation from sunlight, which increases what's called collagen cross-linking, where one collagen strand will spontaneously bond to another one, and this increases the rigidity of the collagen fibers and it decreases their ability to stretch and slide next to one another. This decrease in collagen elasticity is also due to the fact that as you're exposed to UVA radiation, type 3 collagens will gradually become replaced by type 1 collagens, also increasing tissue rigidity and creating an environment where the only option for physical adaptation is to create wrinkles to compensate for this lack of elasticity. Now, when you ingest a collagen supplement, like all proteins you ingest, it undergoes hydrolysis in the stomach into smaller di and tripeptides. These smaller peptides can be transported via PEPS1 into the circulation, and studies have shown that all the collagen peptides can be measured in the actual blood plasma as early as 1 to 2 hours post-ingestion, and they have a preferential ability to migrate to the tissues where they're needed most by a process known as chemotaxis. This means that the body does recognize these peptides, and they're actually chemically attracted to human skin fibroblasts where they can actually accumulate for a period of up to 2 weeks. In randomized double-blind placebo-controlled studies, it was shown that supplementation of 10 grams of collagen for 10 grams of collagen a day for 8 weeks resulted in increases in skin hydration, increases in hyaluronic acid synthesis, and an increase in the elastin and collagen content in the dermis, and an overall decrease in cell fragmentation. Since these endpoints were found to be appealing, several subsequent studies were conducted investigating the types of peptides that were found in the serum after consuming collagen. And what was found is that there's 6 different types of dipeptides and 4 different types of tripeptides that are found in the blood after consuming collagen. And all of these peptides contain at least one residue of hydroxyproline. Several of these compounds have been studied individually, and it turns out that cycloalanine hydroxyproline and cycloleucine hydroxyproline actually have the highest absorption rate, and that glycine hydroxyproline can actually increase muscle stem cell differentiation and increase muscle hypertrophy. Some of these peptides can also increase the expression of a cell surface protein called decorin, which has a downregulatory effect on myostatin levels, which could also increase muscle growth. But perhaps the most important dipeptide derived from collagen is proline hydroxyproline, which is the most abundant dipeptide that's found in human serum after ingesting collagen. Studies on proline hydroxyproline revealed that just this dipeptide alone can increase human dermal fibroblast proliferation and also increases hyaluronic acid synthesis via increasing the expression of hyaluronic acid synthase 2. It was also shown that proline hydroxyproline decreases what's called TOOL, transepidermal water loss, and thus improves skin hydration. Now, the type of collagen that we've chose to include in our Wonder Collagen is something called Pepti Plus, which is hydrolyzed fragments of collagen types 1 and 3, and it does have an approximately 12% abundance of hydroxyproline in it. We then chose to take this collagen a little bit further and process this material via what's called IO technology. And this sends the actual collagen raw material through a highly energized atmospheric plasma, which alters the overall particle size doing 2 things. 1, it increases the ability for your body's endogenous enzymes to attack these particles in digestion and help break them down. 2, it also increases the potential surface area for these compounds to come into contact with the body's tissues, meaning that this version of IO collagen can actually result in a faster rate of deployment of these ditripeptides, and it also increases the total amount of usable peptides being released from these particles. So by using the IO plasma technology in combination with hydrolyzed collagens types 1 and 3, we've taken simple collagen supplementation to a new level with superior digestibility and bioavailability, which is also supported by the use of estrogen, found here in Wonder Collagen at 25 milligrams, because in unpublished research by New Live Science, it was shown that estrogen can boost the absorption of peptides in general by as much as 41%. Now, since we know that collagen quantity and quality decreases with age, we also asked ourselves, what could we possibly do to slow down some of those internal processes of collagen degradation? The most obvious thing you could do here is to actually wear sunscreen every day. There are even some types of makeup that contain, SPF, sun protection factors, in their formulations. But we found the answer to this question in a pretty cool looking flower, which I encourage all of you people to look up. The Moldavian dragonhead, if that's not a cool enough name, you should see the flower, is native to Eastern Europe and also Western Russia. And this recently became a trademarked ingredient that is now called Dracobel, also found in Wonder Collagen, which has been studied in vitro and in model systems and in human clinical studies, creating a nice mechanistic chain of data that I will happily walk you through. In this in vitro study, it was shown that AMPK activity increased 4 times over baseline and that FOXO activity increased 3 times over baseline. And though these mechanisms are interesting for in vivo studies, let's elaborate more as the makers of Dracobel moved on to model systems. This study investigated the use of Dracobel in C. elegans, which is a type of nematode worm. The fascinating thing about choosing this worm as a model system is that most animals actually do have collagen of some sort, and that the loss of collagen mass with aging persists across all species, and the way that they chose to look for alterations in collagen metabolism was largely based on the abundance of the amino acid hydroxyproline yet again. What they did find was that the amount of hydroxyproline did change under the influence of Dracobel, and that this was actually a dose-dependent response, with a maximum effect of approximately 66% increase in the hydroxyproline concentration. This was also confirmed with an assay for the promoter of collagen known as the Col-144 protein. This protein is it has some regulatory activity on how frequently the gene for collagen gets expressed. And this study actually showed an approximate 29% increase in the Col-144 promoter region. So considering the data from the in vitro and the model system studies, the makers of Dracobel then decided to investigate the effects of Dracobel in a human clinical study. This study actually featured 32 healthy women taking Dracobel for a total of 56 days at the recommended dose of 200 milligrams per day. What was found was that there was an actual significant increase in skin moisture by about 14% and an approximate 7% increase in skin elasticity, and a non-significant but positive trend in overall skin density with an approximate 3% increase in thickness between the dermis and the epidermis combined. Now, all of this taken together means that Dracobel can actually turn on some longevity genes. It can actually also increase endogenous collagen production and synthesis, and it can also produce some kind of results that you can actually see in less than a 2-month period. And one last shout out to biotin, which is featured in here. Biotin is actually good for hair and nail growth, but only in the sense that you could actually be deficient, which is rare. Now, biotin isn't exactly something that people get deficient in easily, and it really only happens if you consume raw egg whites. So for those of you out there, yes, you will find a hefty dose of 5,000 micrograms of biotin or 5 milligrams per serving in Wonder Collagen, which should keep you far away from being deficient. Just don't consume any raw egg whites or it'll all be for nothing. So in closing, skin's a wonderful thing. And if you really care about your skin, the first line of defense should be sunscreen to protect your collagen from cross-linking. Next, you should consider a daily skincare regimen. This should include some sort of moisturizer and maybe some antioxidants, but that's got to be applied topically. And lastly, there's this fantastic realm of supplements that are emerging. Some people call these beauty from within, or cosmeceuticals, or even nutri-cosmetics, but they do have a purpose. Your skin is basically the only thing protecting your vital organs from the outside world. It protects you from pathogens like bacteria and viruses and even fungi, which it can and sometimes does even get infected with. It's an amazing thing. It's actually the largest organ that you have. And just like everything else in your body, you should take care of it. Our Wonder Collagen is now available in naked, unflavored version that's a great additive to just about anything, and a raspberry rose flavor, which is kind of like aromatherapy for your tongue. And then we've got this awesome frosted cinnamon swirl that makes a great coffee addition, or it's really just pretty fantastic with water, I'm not gonna lie. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on my notifications because they're pretty rare anyway. If you're on YouTube, go check out my Instagram at Supplement Lab. And if you're on Instagram, go drop a subscribe and a couple of likes on the Supplement Lab YouTube. This has been Wonder Collagen, and we will see you next time on the Supplement Lab.